I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Legends of Tomorrow After Show, breaking down every episode of Legends of Tomorrow, airing Tuesday nights on the CW. I'm Frank Morin.
And I'm Dave Child. How's it going, everyone? I'm actually paying attention to the chat today, so if you're on the chat on the YouTube, say hi to us, say what you think about this episode. We'll comment back, and we'll include you in the conversation.
Look at that. And as always, folks, like us on Facebook, give us those 5 stars on iTunes, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and as Dave said, chat's up and running, hop in there. But if you're watching after we stream live, feel free to comment down below. We'll break down every little bit of information here about the latest episode, Shipbroken, great title. But before we go into the detail that everybody's come here because that's what they're wanting, Dave, what did you think overall?
I thought it was a pretty good episode. I don't know. It's not my favorite episode of Legends of Tomorrow because they don't go. Yeah, I really love it when they go full wacky, and I feel like they're kind of getting into the plot and the like driving the story forward. Fine, but I kind of like when they just go F it and let's have a silly episode, or let's have something that's just kind of crazy and out there. This one was a little tame in my mind. It was pretty safe. It felt like a pretty safe kind of standard episode of television. So it wasn't my favorite one, but it was fine.
Well, what doesn't look safe to me is the amount of dogs that you have with you. Where did you get all these dogs?
They showed up. I mean, I was making my daily prayer to Satan, and then all these dogs showed up. So I think they're fine. I'm sorry I have to record in my bathroom. It's just, it's the acoustics are better in here. It's everywhere else is loud. So I just got my dogs lined up.
Well, they look adorable. I'm sure nothing's going to go wrong.
Oh yeah, it'll be fun.
All right. So, Dave, of course, you were not here last week. So I'm going to ask you now, between last episode, this episode, we only have, I think, maybe 2 episodes left before the season finale.
Wow, really?
I think so. I'll have to double check. But in terms of Charlie, this is my biggest thing, is that I still feel like for as much as they're trying to give us something to care about with Charlie, I mean, this whole thing is supposed to make us care, and she's supposed to be an integral part of it. Yet I feel like she's always just on the sidelines still.
Yeah, I think they had the promise of really delivering on Charlie and making Charlie like something impressive, more fleshed out. But Charlie just kind of seems like, I don't know, she's just there. They're kind of, I was hoping they were going to play a little bit with the fact that, like you said in a previous episode, how the actress and Berard, they talked about how they have a relationship kind of starting to go. And I was hoping we were going to get to that because she chose him to come back first, but then she wasn't able to kind of do anything. I did like how the Loom of Fate looked, surprisingly. I thought that would kind of looked cool. And I feel like the budget for this episode went to the Loom of Fate and the Devil Dog. But, it was still like, that looked pretty cool. And I liked how everyone was amazed at it. I don't know. It was fine. It was fun. But I do feel like they're not even making it so she can do it by herself. So she needs her sisters, or she needs someone else becoming Fates. So they're opening it up for some problem here. But yeah, but I think you're right. They could have had more character development, especially last episode where we got to see her kind of talking to Enchantress. It's Enchantress, right?
Yep, for a hot second at the top of the episode. And then she does nothing except like hang out with Nate as they're just like chilling out in beach chairs while everybody else is in hell. I'm like, what was this?
She seems like they're just driving. She's just driving the plot along. She's like the MacGuffin rather than actually taking the time to develop her character a bit more, find out more about who she is.
Yeah,
so,
I find myself very disappointed with what they've done with this character. And but we do see the Loom of Fate being activated. There's a big debate about who do we bring back first. Do we bring back Astra's mom because John promised Astra? Do we bring back Barad because Zari had John say, "Hey, we'll make sure with the loom fake and bring back Barad," or do we try to get
And Sarah
out of
was
coma?
was in the
Which
coma at the time, so it's
I feel like out of all those, like Sarah in the coma, like how could you realistically put that atop bringing two other people back from the dead?
right. The other one's like, the other one Sarah might just work this out. I mean, it might just be fun.
Yes. Yeah.
It might not be a thing, but the other ones are just like, oh yeah. I think that's just Ava being Ava and being in love with Sarah. So she had to say her piece.
So we see, as we talked about the loom being activated, and we kind of worried, like, how's it going to look? Is it going to be huge? Is it going to be small? And
It'll be a giant loom.
right. I mean, the pieces of the ring, they still stay the same shape. They don't transform into anything. So I guess you don't need to transform them back.
No, they kind of become like a shiny ball. They become like a shiny thing.
Yeah,
and then it kind of all the loomy stuff happens around it because of that. But yeah, it's what you do see in the show, and this sometimes happens, is I feel like they change their mind about something after a certain episode. Like, because when they first introduced the rings, they were like, oh, it transformed into this, so it can hide. It transformed into this shape. And then every episode after that's just like, the rings, we're looking for the rings. And just like, so I feel like they just got to change their mind about how the looms got to work, and they were always rings. But it kind of makes sense if you think about like 3 fates, so each fate needed something in order for the loom to work, and so why not rings? It's a good superhero go-to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to understand what the effects were of that whole process, where it seems it was taking various strands, making them into like a full kind of piece of cloth, and the cloth kind of ribbons around to form a circle, and then you split that whole
Okay. This is what I think was going on. What it first did was reveal the tapestry of the world of life. That ribbon was the tapestry of destiny, blah, 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 whatever that is. And then she opened the world to try to find this one strand that was Berard's, and was able to find that one strand, but she couldn't put it together. She couldn't fix it on her own. I was wondering if they were introducing the idea that they can't fix it because a fate cut it to begin with. So they didn't even try. I mean, they didn't even try the other ones. I feel like what they should have done is just like, well, that one didn't work. Yeah. But let's try bringing the mom back and seeing if that works. Like, and then we'll go back to Berard. Like, let's do. Okay, you had 3 things you had to do. Why not just be like, okay, one doesn't work, let's go to the other 2? But instead, she just kind of gave up. But maybe that's a confidence issue on her part.
But I kind of agreed with Astra's discussion with Zari a little later on about, hey, I know we were talking about who should go first, and they tried Behrad, but maybe it's the confidence thing. Like you were saying, why don't we see if we can convince Charlie to go back and we try something a little easier, something that doesn't have all the time travel issues built into it, like Behrad's Thread of Fate. We do my mom. She's never traveled in time. So if Charlie can do that one, then she's like, all right, I can do this. And I have to admit, I thought that point of view was a valid one.
Yeah, I thought what you would like, oh, it's a time travel. I also think it's because he doesn't exist in one, timeline. So he popped up all of a sudden and then rewrote history. And I think he is a complicated thread, but the other one probably not as much.
Because he's from 2040, but he's in 2020, and having his thread cut, 20 years before he was really even alive. So it's like kind of weird, I would think.
Yeah, it may be. I guess I'll save it for predictions, but I feel like they might be building up something with the fact that she needs 2 other fates to do stuff. So I'm curious about that, but we'll talk about that in predictions.
Yeah, so that ends up being Charlie's trying to fix Behrad's thread. It goes all wrong. There's a huge energy expulsion, and the ship gets deactivated momentarily and basically cut off from any access to the time stream. Can't use the jump ship. Can't use their little wrist devices to be able to cut through the time portals and stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing's available, so they're just all stuck there, which is inconvenient for Mick Rory because he had just tried to have a weekend hanging out, traveling through time with his daughter, and realizes, oh, now we're just stuck on this time ship. Can't go anywhere for the whole weekend.
Right.
Yeah.
But she does have studying to do, so that's something at least. She can focus on studying. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like that she was absolutely like, no, I want to go on the time ship. Like, I do like how she was. I don't know, that was enough to not be pissed at her dad for a second, to at least come on. And I thought actually this part of the story I thought was maybe my favorite part of the episode. Was just her trying to them gaining their relationship back, but at the same time he's faced with like jealousy that maybe she even likes Nate a bit more than him, and introducing other members of the people on the ship, and it just kind of seemed like he was starting to feel like a jealous dad, and I kind of like that. I kind of like that he didn't know how to handle this. And also, like, the loot room, that was pretty funny. The whole vaults, and then the fact that
for you though, Dave, if you were going to get together with a child that you were estranged with, especially like a young girl, your daughter, your estranged daughter. I mean,
as I know very well.
Yes. So I mean, tell me what you did in your situation when you tried to reconnect with your.
When I found out I had a 20-year-old daughter because I was time traveling.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been there. That's.
I mean, it's a tale as old as time. Travel.
I would think Mick suggesting roller derby as a good weekend activity, maybe not the worst thing, but you didn't need to throw in, we're gonna see sleazy women.
The cleavage.
Yes.
It's because I think, but at the same time, I thought that was a great idea. It feels like she would love roller derby, right? Yeah, but the fact that he mentioned cleavage is the only thing that made it weird. But at the same time, you're a dad. Anything that you mention, she's going to say no. They're like, they're estranged. She doesn't like him. You can mention the best thing in the world, and she's going to say no.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't help your situation by then throwing in the cleavage. Oh, yeah. We're going to look at people's
but he doesn't know how to be a dad. He doesn't know. That feels like a very McRory thing to say.
I would still think, I don't know if I'd like talk to a girl that I'm trying to connect with and say, like, the best thing we could do is go try to look at other women's boobs.
He's had a kid for minutes. He's had a kid for like an hour tops, if you add them all together. He's like, he's still getting used to this. And he's not very good with just talking in general. One thing I did like that he did in this episode that I also thought was very him was when he finally sat down and tried to have a talk with her, he wrote it down and read from the thing that he wrote. Because I feel like he's more comfortable writing than he is just talking.
I agree with that. The only thing I was kind of bummed about is I really wanted it to be good. And I felt like they played it for well written because they played it for a bit where he gets off on a tangent talking about the Flash. I'm like, ugh, all right. So, yeah. And then it gets shut down. It doesn't even get a chance to finish up. So I'm just like.
No, I agree with that. But I at least like the idea that they went down that road. But yeah. By the way, someone in the chat, Classic Slayer 71, said about this episode that the legends are quarantined now, which I think that's kind of true. They're kind of all stuck on the ship together. So ended up being a quarantine episode just by chance.
It's so basically, with the ship powered, trapped in the time stream, unable to go anywhere, Charlie says, hey, this isn't working with the rings. I might need 2 other people because it took 3 people to operate it originally. Yeah. Constantine's going to go do some research. Astra's starting to get fed up. Like, wait a second. What do you mean? This isn't exactly what I was promised coming here. I'm waiting for people to do research. What do you think of Astra's character right now? I find her kind of annoying.
I mean, she's annoying, but she's been in hell for years. She's been raised in hell. You got to give her some leeway because of that. She's not one person I want to join the team. I don't want her to be like, on next season, I hope she stays around. She could be all talking about hell all the time. No, but she's okay still. I do think they're at least heading in the direction where I hope they bring back the fact that Constantine wanted to rewrite her history. And I want him to still want to do that, even though I don't think it's what he should do in the end. Because it would be nice. No, I don't think so. Because I don't think she would want that. Unless she wants that, then it's because right now he wants to rewrite her and turn her into a whole different person. But I could see her being like, no, this is the life I've lived. It was a shitty life, but it was the life I lived. And I don't want to be a different person because of it. I want my mom to be around, but not like my whole life to change.
Really? Because I would think you would want, because bringing your mom back, you would also be able to have a chance to have so many more memories. Because for Astra, it would go from her as a child, her mom gets brought back, she gets taken to hell, and she doesn't get reunited to her until the present day. So
I guess it's the question of what does bringing the mom back mean? Does bringing the mom back mean way back in time, so it kind of writes its, changes life? Or does bringing the mom back mean she's grown up, she's lived her life in hell, but now her mom's there? So she's come back and she's there. I don't know. I don't know what that means. And I don't think they've kind of explained that very well.
Well, for you, Dave, if you were in that situation, hanging out with your pups behind you, heading down to hell, would you would say that you would rather keep your cruddy hell life and not get it rewritten? Because I would think having it rewritten, it's gotta, even if it's not 100% better.
Well, think of it this way.
Gotta be any percentage is better.
Think of it this way. Do you really want to go back in time and change the things that you actually regret? Because if you do that, then you won't be the person you are today. And you could be a worse person. So.
Yeah, but you're a ruler of hell. I mean, there's not much lower you can get.
Right.
I would gamble on getting my life rewritten. It could only be better. Even by an infinitesimal degree, it would still be better than living my life in hell. Right.
I mean, I guess that's true. I mean, I guess I would. If I spent that many times in hell, then but Ivan in the chat even says that Astra loves hell. So if that's her thing, to love hell, I think that's kind of a, self-defense mechanism, if anything. She's probably learned to love hell. But if you learn to love it, then maybe you just don't want to change it. It's hard because it'll be like, all right, Frank, what if you never came to LA? What if that's your thing? You just never came to LA whatsoever. You don't know how that would change. So.
It could only
It
would only be better. It would only be better. There you go. I think my life would only be better, Dave. Everybody would be happier. I wouldn't be bothering.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I would be at a much better place.
That's right. See?
We'll still be doing the show, but you'll be in Canada or something.
That's true. A fugitive on the run from the law. But that is the problem with being Astra and being a ruler of hell, is that even if you claim to not be involved behind any shenanigans, people aren't going to believe you. So when the rings of fate turn up being missing, somebody has taken them and thrown the box that was holding them in the trash disposal. Gary finds it. All eyes go to Astra. She's like, it wasn't me. I didn't do anything, but nobody buys it.
So when did you think it was the dog? That's my question. When did you think it was the dog?
Because I saw the scene of Mick taking his daughter, because Mick's daughter mentions, oh, wait, tell me about this loom of fate. And we see her go to the treasure room, and she's talking about all this stuff that I thought maybe for a moment she had taken those. Thought that she had more of Mick in her than he would like, about being a kind of a thief. So my inclination was leaning towards the daughter. So for the dog, that it really wasn't until the the scene with Gary and Sara inside the med bay.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I thought of it like a lot sooner, but I also had just seen an episode of Star Trek Next Generation where there is a dog on a spaceship, and the dog is on the spaceship, and they find out that like these people have been murdered and the only thing left is the dog. And so they're investigating the murders and all these twists and turns. But in the end, it was a shape-shifting alien that had shape-shifted into the dog, essentially. It's a little bit more complicated than that. But it was like, so as soon as they're like, who's doing this? I did not see, however, I did not guess that it was going to be a hellhound, one.
Yes.
And the hellhound, the son of Sam hellhound.
Yeah.
Which is actually kind of cool. And I like that the dog was just telling them to kill people. I also like the idea that the son of Sam was right and there was just a demon dog that was telling him to kill people, and it actually isn't him that was killing people. And I thought that was a nice little like trick. And I kind of wish I wish we kind of saw that more. I wish there was a bit more of a lead up to it, but instead of just introducing a dog and then kind of cramming in that exposition that it's the son of Sam dog. But I still kind of like that.
I did like it because I liked how when the dog does show up, how easily it's able to convince Nate to kill Zari and Charlie. Like, I'm thinking I kind of like what he's saying. I want to pick up.
Yeah, that was nice. That was really good. And I thought it was just going to be a shape-shifting dog because that's also the dog from The Thing. You know, It's like dogs and spaceships. They don't. If the dog's name is in the title, you know that dog is going to die. If the dog is on a spaceship, you know that dog is going to probably become an alien or is an alien or something. Even Alien 3, the dog technically dies, but it creates a dog alien. So
very true. I mean, and I guess the other big red flag should be that Gary brought it on the board. So we know anything that Gary
did. I also like that Gary just brought it from hell. That it was something that was just brought from hell. Yeah. It's kind of nice too. And such a stupid Gary thing to do. So that was nice. It was cute. It was a very cute dog too.
It was. Yeah, there you go. You know, a sweet little dog baked by the devil. We also have Sara, as I mentioned, that Gary tries to help out with his emotional support dog that he got from hell to try to help Sara out, who this episode is dealing with the ramifications of staring straight in the face of AfterBuzz and getting that full force of her powers. It has made her blind, but if she is touched, she gets visions of their future.
Yeah. I think they're building to something here. That's my guess.
Yeah.
I think it's building up to something. Did you see this coming at all? That she was gonna have blind Cassandra powers, Oracle powers.
Well, I mean, I guess I figured that something would come out of it. I was not expecting the blind until it was introduced this episode. The thing that was frustrating me more than anything at the beginning is when, as usual, when something happens to somebody and they can't tell anybody right away, like, just tell these people that you're having visions of them being dead. Why you not? The fact that it took so many scenes for it to be dragged out of her. Like,
I mean, it's the way that she said it was just kind of ridiculous. I do understand the idea of being like, I don't want to freak everyone out. I got to figure out what's going on before I say anything. I do understand that she doesn't say them right away. But how she does say them is like, it's not a big deal. I can clearly see everyone's death, but it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. I thought that was funny. But I do like, I don't know. I do understand at least not being like, oh my God, I just saw your death, Ava. Like the first thing, just wait a little.
I mean, I would think because I agree, it kind of got rushed at the end with the Son of Sam stuff. That I feel like you could have cut down on a lot of the Sara, like, I don't want to say.
Yeah, what should have happened? What should have happened is Sara should have been like, hey, Constantine, can I talk to you for a second? It should just be like, or even Charlie. It should be like either Constantine or Charlie just being like, what is happening? I'm seeing everyone's death. What's going on? I don't want to freak out everyone, instead of it being kind of announced to everyone. So,
You mentioned Star Trek: The Next Generation, and I will
of course.
say one thing that I appreciated about that show that I think I'd like to see more in this show is that anytime somebody had an issue, if they were seeing visions of timelines or had something happening to their body and they weren't sure, they would go and they would tell people, and they'd go to the med bay and get checked out.
Right.
I appreciate
because they're so used to it happening on the ship that it's a thing. Yeah.
Yes. So, like, how could people in the Wave Rider? They've been here almost five full seasons together. Why would you not just come forward with something? They've seen so many crazy things.
Yes, I agree with you. Yes, she should have mentioned something right away. Yes, or at least in the next scene to Charlie or Constantine to figure it out. I understand why she wouldn't say it right away to Ava. That's the only thing. But saying it like the next scene, yes.
Because
usually this is what happens on Star Trek. This is always what happens on Star Trek. She sees someone gets touched. She'll see someone's face, and then it goes act break. Cut to commercial. Come back. They're all around the table, and they're like, "What do you think this means?" And it's clearly that they said it, and now they're all brainstorming like, "Oh, it could be time. It could be this. It could be Q. Is it Q? I don't know. But I'm with you."
I mean, of course, with these kind of powers, it's able to give you that kind of little fake out where Sarah does get the orders from the dog to kill Gary, and she kills Gary right away. And you're like, "Ooh, this could be interesting." But of course, it's played off as a flash forward in time.
I didn't mind that because I didn't want them to somehow get Gary back from the dead.
Yeah.
I kind of that's not how Gary's going to leave the show, So I didn't mind that it was a flashback because it also showed that she's like, that's how she has to change or that she can change the future because she can do that.
Yes. So. And the idea of basically using her is sort of the eyes of the future because they're trying to track this dog now. And, Constantine's like, how are we going to find him on the ship? Oh, wait, I've got you, Sarah. We just keep touching you. You're going to keep constantly telling us where the heck this dog is.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, so they track it down.
That reminded me of an episode of Rick and Morty I just saw, too. It's Rick Morty always knows his own death. So he's trying to find the best death, and he's just going the best path to get the best death. It's a pretty good episode. Watch a lot of time traveling shows, it turns out.
Wait, that's the one where he has that vision of that girl saying at his deathbed that she loved him or whatever, right?
Yeah, I love you, Morty.
Yep, I watched that a little while ago too. That was a pretty good episode.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good one.
So we're going on these tangents of Rick and Morty and Star Trek: The Next Generation. All right, So the Legends of Tomorrow. So we see finally that Zari, which I did appreciate, that Zari kind of starts putting things together as well. Is able to tap into her old timeline version of Zari. Is able to start hacking the computers and finds out all the video footage, seeing all the legends destroying these key parts of the ship, but then also realizes, hey, the dog is in every one of these scenes as well too. So yes, what's up with this dog?
Okay, I got a question about Zari right now for you.
Yes. Lay down.
What do you think about this John Constantine stuff that's happening right now?
It was. I mean, they really didn't say much of it this episode. I mean, other than Constantine, I thought it was an interesting wrinkle, but I mean, Constantine's not known. I don't buy Constantine being in any sort of relationship. I just would see it as just a
complication.
Yes. Yeah.
So she might hook up with Constantine, and it might make things a little awkward with Nate. But you think are you still shipping her and Nate, or do you not care at all?
I mean, at this point, I mean, I could see them trying to get her and Nate back together, but I feel like the Constantine thing is just like, he's a guy that will sleep with just about anybody. So if he's got that, that little spark, he will, embrace it for the moment, but it's not like he wants to build a life with this person. So I don't think so.
It feels like they're hinting this episode, and they did it heavy last episode.
I mean, at the end of the last episode where they had that little moment,
so
you're like,
I don't worry that. I'm just worried that they're trying to force another love triangle thing going on. And I'm not for it. I feel like you're right. I feel like John Constantine's a good one and doneer, but I'd hope they're not playing it as like an actual love interest for this new Zari. Because I'd rather she get with Nate. Honestly.
Yeah, and I did check and included. So there's 3 episodes left. So next week and then 2 more after that. So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more stuff to focus on this season. That if you wanted to explore anything about the Constantine, Nate, and Zari triangle, I'm fine with kind of bringing it up this season, but really addressing it next season.
I got a question. I don't think this is true, but someone in the chat said, Renji90998 said, Constantine slept with King Shark. Is that true? Is that canon?
Did you bring your receipts for that?
Or is that just some a very interesting fan art that is happening? That's bringing a lot to the table if that's true.
What's wrong with sleeping with a shark?
I mean, you're saying a blanket statement like that. What's wrong with sleeping with a shark? I think there's a lot of reasons.
All
One,
right.
they're always battling the jets. Oh.
Of course, Astra's put in the little force cage as well. When the demon dog finally reveals itself, all the rest of the legends say, hey, this is the best place to hide us inside this force cage. And Astra's inside there and says, hey, you know what? I'm from hell. I can stop this. You got to let me out. And it becomes that whole big moment of trust. Do you trust this queen of hell to actually do the right thing? And they let her out. And of course, she keeps the rest of the legends inside there. But she does help Constantine and Sara send that dog back to hell by telling Constantine his real name.
Yeah, she's just sassy. That's all. She's just sassy.
And again, I can watch, Constantine do any of his magic. Always cool. The guy tells it. Oh, yeah. It doesn't. I mean, it spins his hands. The animation looks great. It always looks cool. So I always dig that. I feel like my frustrations with the show and the times when they show the lack of showing of people's superhuman abilities is made up for the amount of times they let Constantine just work his magic, because I feel like I get plenty of that in the show.
Also, I like how Nate just showed off the fact that he could steal up to kind of get in the good graces of McRory's daughter. I just love that he knows enough to be like, listen, I'm going to sound very boring when I come in here, but look at this. Ding, ding. Hey, isn't this cool?
I did like say, you're the coolest professor ever. I know. Yeah.
yeah. I really love Nate. I think he's one of my favorite parts of the show. I missed the Nate Ray interaction, but I love that he's still there at least. I felt for a moment for Mick Rory. I didn't realize that making it was almost called the celery with peanut butter, pigs in a blanket. It's not that. It's ants on a log. Ants on a log.
Yes. Not that hard to make.
Yeah, but he wanted it to be perfect. He's really like trying, and he didn't want it to just look slapped together. And he doesn't cook. That's not his thing.
So they send the demon dog back to hell. We've got Rory and his daughter. They're able to make amends. They're like, hey, let's hang out for this weekend. I think I'm good. I want to spend the rest of the weekend with you.
And then Gary gets a gremlin at the end.
Yeah, that was like, okay. And they said, don't feed him after midnight.
It's a bit of an easy joke.
We do see Zari try to at least kind of mend fences with Astra and try to bring her a little bit into the fold. And Astra's like, hey, whoa, I don't plan on hanging out here. I don't need to get a tour of the ship. Right. But, in a sense, I wouldn't have minded it. Just like, man, I need to care a little bit more about Astra as well.
Yeah, she needed a bit more, like, character development as well. Because right now she's just sassy chick from hell, is not right. We don't quite, she needs a bit more of a of a lip and an eye patch, as it was. Something to kind of define the character. Yeah.
Folks.
This is one thing I wanted to. Are we doing predictions now? Do you want to? Can I say?
Oh no, we gotta. I gotta see if. Are you hungry, Dave?
I'm feeling a little peckish. Yes. Why do you ask?
Because it's time for the internet's hottest special segment. That is, where's the beef? Where's the beef?
Indeed. Where's beef? Wow.
Dave, I got a little bit of beef to serve to you here.
Okay.
So Sara, of course, as we were talking about earlier, realizes that she's blind now. No longer has the ability to see. So if you're sitting here on a vessel where you've got unlimited access to any kind of clothing whatsoever, if you realize that you were blind and you just were trying to just put something on, why would you wrap your head in like a bandage as opposed to I'm just going to put on sunglasses?
One, she doesn't know where her sunglasses are because she's blind. And do you remember, if you closed your eyes, would you know exactly where your sunglasses are? And two, the ship was down. She couldn't use any replicators or anything like that to get sunglasses.
And you
All
think that
stuff was broken.
You think you said, Ava, do you mind going to our cabin and getting me a pair of my sunglasses?
Listen, the fact that she even put it on, or even sunglasses to put it on, makes no sense. But I know exactly why she did it. Is because those contacts hurt. Those white contacts, I've had to wear those sometimes for some roles that I've played. If I play a monster or a ghost, which tends to happen, those are full eye contacts. They go all the way around the eye, or for most part of it. They hurt like hell. You do not want to wear them for very long. So they needed a way to cover it up, and that's why the bandana happened. That's not very good story reason at all. It would even make more sense if they wrote something in that everyone was feeling a little uncomfortable with her milky eyes for why she needed to cool it. But I will say, I think it looked cooler than sunglasses to have her with that wrapped around her eyes. She looks more mythological with that wrapped around her eyes.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So I was fine with it because it gave the actress a break, and also it looked cooler than sunglasses. If she wore the goggles that they wore in the very beginning, even I wouldn't be into it.
Really? I would have been down because I would think tying something around your head, you got to worry about it constantly sliding off. Put on a pair of sunglasses, man.
Oh man! I mean, I've been wearing a bandana as a mask to walk around, and that it's fine. It's great. It works well for me. It's not always sliding off. Plus, she took it off occasionally and then put it back on. They took it off whenever they want the eyes, and then they kept it back on.
I want to see your milky eyes. All right, folks. Before we wrap up, we should probably do a few predictions.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So,
what do you have, Mr. Dave Child?
My big prediction is I think they might be building to the idea that Sara is kind of becoming a fate. I think that's why she's going through this transformation. So she can become one of the fates. And because she's human, she has to go through this, and she has all this other stuff. So I think she'll become one of the fates. I don't know what third fate they're going to get. But I think there's going to be a third fate that they can use, so all three of them can use that, all the rings. But I think one of them is going to be Sara. That's my prediction. Not sure about it.
Well, that's true. I mean, not a bad prediction. I mean, because if Astra was being groomed to be a fate, she could easily take part in that as well, too, then.
Yeah, it could be Astra. Those could be the three fates, actually. That kind of makes sense. It's Astra, Sara, and Charlie. So we'll see.
I will say it's interesting for the show right now, instead of having to chase whatever the season MacGuffin is, that they actually have all the pieces. I mean, now the struggle is just trying to figure out how to use it properly. Interesting. We'll see what happens.
Do you think that they're going to build the fact that Mick Rory's daughter wants to become a criminal, have that be kind of a constant conflict between the two? I think that might end up developing a little bit, but we'll see.
It might be. I mean, I will say that I'm surprised that I thought like, oh, okay, it might be done just as a bit, but I think the show has done a better job than I thought they would about giving him this new kind of dynamic in his life, and also still exploring it.
I think it would be better than pursuing like, oh, I'm so mad at you, Dad. Like, I think that conflict is always going to be there a little bit, but we have something that's a good save the cat for McRory to have her not become a criminal. And we have a good character choice for her for wanting to kind of go around and commit time crimes. And I feel like the two of them will be kind of like, it'll be good because she's wanting to become the dad and the dad not wanting her to become him. So hopefully they'll develop that a bit more.
No, I do like that, especially because Mick, of course, is not changing. So he's going to still it's going to be that whole like, do as I say, not as I do thing, which should be kind of interesting. What do you mean I can't rob? You rob all the time. No, you're supposed to be better than me.
Is she going to get a cold gun? Oh.
All right, I'll ask you, Dave. Who do you think will get revived by the end of the season? Do you think both Astra's mom and Berad, or only one of them, or none of them?
Ooh, good question. I hope Berad comes back. I like him a lot, and I'd like for him to be there next season. I guess the mom, it would be great if to come back. I guess that's the whole goal of this, but they might find that Astra wants something different anyway, so we'll see. I think at least one of them.
Yeah.
But, and I'm hoping it's Berard.
Well, that's true. I mean, if Astra has become one of the fates, maybe she getting a chance to see the bigger picture of life and the universe changes her perspective and realizes that, oh, okay, my mom, I don't need her back. I purpose this for other things. Maybe.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Dave, we did it. We made it through an episode again.
We did it.
Yes. Again, folks, we're going to have 3 more episodes. So 3 more weeks of us together. Look at us just breaking things down. But as always, folks, thanks for joining us for the episode here. Like us on Facebook. Give us those 5 stars on iTunes. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you, everybody, for hopping in the chat. And if you're watching after we stream live, feel free to comment down below. But if you want to stay in touch with either Dave or myself, give Dave any, dog tips, because he's got
just drop off any dogs. Slide in my DMs with some dogs. That would be great. Yeah, honestly, if you send me any dog pictures, I'll be very happy. I need that right now. I think we all need dog pictures right now. So just send out dog pictures, please.
Who should I send them to?
You should send them to Mr. Dave Child on the Twitters and the Instagrams, or go to davechild.com. Because my name is Dave Child. Let me see them dog pics. I want to see them dog pics. Where can they find you, Frank?
Find me on Twitter and Instagram at HappyGoJackie. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode of the Legends of Tomorrow After Show. We'll see you back here next Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Pacific for an all-new episode right here on AfterBuzz TV.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.